Well, I was born in Napier, but I was quite a sick kid, so my family moved around a lot, and we ended up, we went down, lived in Luggett for a while. Dad worked in Gould, because he's a Central Otago boy, and we ended up living up in the far north in Dargaville, from about 4.5 to 12ish, and then we came to Auckland.
Why were you sick?
I had asthma. I was quite a sick kid, and spent heaps of time in hospital, and this was before they had Ventolin and Flexitide and all that sort of stuff. So every time I had an asthma attack, I was usually had to go to hospital. At that stage, swimming was good, and it was still a bit of fun. But the main thing was getting in trips overseas. That was my main drive. So it wasn't so much about competing on an international world stage. It was more like, ooh, here's a trip to Edinburgh. Once I decided to stop swimming after the Auckland Commonwealth Games, it was, well, what the hell am I going to do now? And I had no qualifications for anything. And I sort of fell into this radio job, and I had Hinawiki and Sid Jackson was there, and Willie Jackson there, and Temuweta was there, and Huni Ka was running it, and a lot of, I didn't know at the time, they were just people at the radio station, but it was quite formative. Tim said, well, you should try to do TV, and I'd seen Tim. I think he hadn't quite started Shortland Street. And I remember watching him on something, maybe it was there for a run or something, he did with this American thing. I thought, geez, I'm sure I can do that. And another friend, a mutual friend of ours, him and I, was Aileen O'Sullivan, and she said, if you want to be an actor, get some training. There's two types. You can either be someone comfortable being yourself in front of a screen, or you can learn to act. Learn to act. And so I applied for drama school with Aileen's help, and I got in first pop, which annoyed a lot of people in that sort of world. And from then, the first year of drama school was just miserable. I enjoyed it, but it was, I had no idea what they were talking about, all these ologies and all the names they would drop all the time, and all these methods, and this whole thing about it just way out of my head. So the one thing I was good at was improv and physical movement. Being sort of coordinated helped me with sort of things. So it wasn't until the second year, because it was a 2-year course then, the second year that we started just kind of making sense. And I think first year they actually asked me to buck up my game or I was going to get kicked out. Vincent O'Sullivan wrote a whole lot of short stories to be in the play, and Up, Down and Taylor. And one of them was Maui, and I'm married, well, I want to be Maui, that's cool, I want to be the main person. And we had to stick our hand up to see if we wanted to be that part, and no one else stuck their hand up. And I went, yeah, I'll be Maui. And then, right, you're Maui. Now, have you read it? Yeah, of course I've read it. No worries. And then, come rehearsals, right, Kirk, do you want, he was Dutch. So, Kirk, you want to be a naked now? And my George went, what? What? No? Didn't you read the script? Yeah? Fishskin Suit was one of those things that, it really felt special. Peter Berger was his first drama, and he had I think they were his commercial team, and they were doing the drama with Larry Parr, and Sonny they were the producers, and Briar had wrote the play, and it was really quite magical about it. And they cast Jacob Rajan as this Elvis impersonating spirit that wanders out of the ocean, and Madeline Sami was playing Nancy Brunning's sister, and that was a bit of a ruckus as well, because it was a story about Maori women, and Nan's obviously Maori, and Madeline passes for Maori, but everyone says, you're not dope, you're Maori, you're not. The story's cool, but I think the thing that made it was how the cool approach I had to it all. It was a really flash-looking film, with all the ramp shots and the way how Al Ball used the camera and stuff. And you had three likely lads, and Robbie, Scotty, and Paolo, and they just got up. They were just deviant. Those three boys, as they tried to make the connection between them and make themselves tight amongst each other, and I got to sort of operate outside of that. the first part I got on Shorty, and I was still in Browns Bay then, and Tony Holden was the producer. Lee Company was, a drug dealing Maori whose girlfriend was a nurse. She was a Maori, and he comes down and stirs a bit of trouble, has a bit of a passion, and then he's off. Well, wasn't a huge part. It was, I'm a part of Shortland Street, and then you get there and you kind of realise, this is a huge sausage factory, how they shoot. That's a lot of stuff they shoot. So I played lead company twice, and I guess it was about 6 months all up, and then I came back as a doctor. So I guess I went to a Northland Polytech, did a weekend course, and came back as a doctor, from a drug dealing Maori boy. I remember doing the audition for Wayne Judd, and I didn't get it. They told me, we're not interested in you. So, okay, well, fair enough, you stink one, objection, and then you carry on with your day. And we happened to be up in Auckland on holiday, and I got a call from Mike Smith, who was the producer at the time, saying, could you come in for an audition? And I remember at the time, every time you go to an audition, you have your idea about how it's going to be played, and then you sort of wait for the casting director to give you their opinion. So I went in and did my opinion of it, and she quite liked it. And I'm not even sure she recorded it. So I think she got me to play it her way, and so I played it, and I didn't get the part. And then Mike Smith talked to me, he says, look, I just want to see these sorts of things in it, which was how I played it originally. So I went in and did it, and they had already cast someone else for it, I think, and the networks were going, no. And so I got to do another audition, and I ended up getting the part. And it was we were still on holidays. It was 4 days before they started shooting that I got the part. It was something like that. Within the week, we had the read-through. You got the part. The read-through's tomorrow, and then we start shooting the day after. Quick, get in there and get a haircut and whatnot, and a mow. And as soon as, because I think I had quite long hair then, and I came home from the wardrobe and makeup call, had this dirty slug under my bang and this buff cop haircut, and the kids just went, oh, what? No! I'm sorry, this is it for the next 6 months. With character descriptions, I find, they give you a list of things. This person is like this and person like that. This is their job, and they tend to map out the job rather than the person. So my opinion of Wayne Judd was more about the man rather than the cop. So this was a guy who was in a job, wasn't necessarily the whole job. And they gave a description of him, and world weary and wisecracking and something else. And they really wanted to see the original edition. They wanted to see a bit of a hard ass to it. Whereas I thought this guy's a tired guy who perhaps doesn't love the Force as much as he used to love the Force. He was a D-Sarge, so he'd been there a long time, and I think he'd been pursuing these West bogans for some time and obviously failing, so it's got to have some sort of effect on him. Since about Series 3, we've been told that every series is going to be, the next one's the last one. I guess that's up to everyone who's watching it. Does everyone want another series after this one? I know it's got to end sometime, because no one wants to be involved in the shark jumping moment with outrageous. But no heavyweight likes to step out of the ring when they're on top. Every heavyweight comes back for another bout, and they get knocked out. So I don't know. I think there's enough in there to go again. It's up to the writers and how everyone handles that sort of stuff. So TV3 want to do it, great. SPP want to do it, I'm sure. NZ On Air, will they fund us? Will we go? You don't know. What are you talking about? You can't even move your beak. You don't. Shut up.